Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Pamela Fertel-Weinstein, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Events here at A4BGU. It's been an amazing 3 days. I know a lot of us are very tired. We've been so busy, but the smiles from everybody and the excitement has just been truly amazing, so I'm so thankful to see all of you here with us today. One of the shining examples at BGU is our Goldman Medical School. This institution is not your typical medical school solely focused on learning anatomy, chemistry, diseases, and treatment plans. It is a place where students learn how to be doctors, not just from the scientific perspective, but from the human side. We all have seen firsthand what makes a good doctor, one that has compassion, excellent communication, and the ability to see the patient for the whole person they are, not just the disease they're being treated for. That is the heart and soul of BGU's medical program, led by Professor Reli Hershkovitz. As Dean of Faculty of Health Sciences, Reli oversees the medical program, preparing the next generation of doctors. In her spare time, she also holds an additional position as a senior gynecologist and head of the Women and Maternity Department at Soroka University Medical Center. On the morning of October 7th, Reli did not wait to be called to help. She changed into her scrubs and rushed to the hospital, and her students did the very same thing. Professor Hershkovitz has changed the way medicine is taught and has implemented, and how it is implemented, and has had the privilege of seeing her students put their training to the test ever since October 7th. One of those students is my new very good friend, Noa Shuker. Born and raised in Beersheba, Noa is a fourth-year medical student and a reservist in the IDF, where she serves as a casualty officer. In this role, she is responsible for receiving wounded patients arriving from combat. She works closely with their families, informing them about the patient's condition and providing support both to the patient and their family throughout the entire hospitalization process. That includes addressing their social, mental, and financial needs. Her education at BGU teaches her how to see and treat the whole patient, not just the wound they are there to be treated for. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome them both today, and you could learn about the amazing contributions they're making to medicine today, tomorrow, not just in Israel, but in the whole world. Reli, please join us.
Okay, so good morning, and it's so nice to see you, everybody, this morning. And, you know, I have to admit first, Paula, thank you for your kind, words. I have to admit that I'm a little bit, I just want to start from the end, okay? And I stand here and I say that our school is the best school, and Noah, agree with me, it's the best school, is the best school in Israel, and probably, do you hear me or? Yeah. Okay, sorry. Okay. And actually, not only in Israel, but amongst many other medical schools abroad. And sometimes, as I just said to myself, what makes us, or our Goldman Medical School, so good? So the clue that our medical school is so good is actually our graduates. I don't know if you know, but our graduates are placed all around the world, leading many health systems, many researchers, many leading researchers. They are leaders of many positions in Israel and abroad, and sometimes as the dean, or even when I was the vice dean and I was the head of the medical school many, 5 or 6 years ago, Ben, isn't it? Something like that. So I've got a lot of phone calls from many doctors from all around the world and say, do you know this and that doctor? And so I said, of course, he's our graduate. So they say, wow, he's terrific. So these kind of things are really heartwarming. I mean, for me, it's really so I'm really proud to stand here. This is the first thing I'm proud to stay here. The second thing I'm proud to stay here is the BGU University. You know, I graduate the 12th class in BGU as a medical student. And I think that the university, and I say it always, if you take the university, the BGU University from Beersheba, the place where I grow and it's my hometown, if you take the university from Beersheba, well, Beersheba doesn't is not going to be as it looks now. It's going to be very different. And I think that the communication and the interaction between our university, and mainly I have to admit, mainly our faculty and Beersheba and the surroundings, makes Beersheba what it is. So let's start and try to understand, just a bit dig down and understand what makes our school so unique. It starts actually with the admission process. You know, all around the world, the admission process, you know, is academic scores and everything, academic excellence. Well, you have academic excellence, that's fine, okay? So we want academic excellence. I don't say we don't want academic. We need, and we have a stage that we don't accept students below it. So academic excellence is of course, but now it's not enough. So we have this academic excellence, and then we are the applicants go through a few stages. The first one is a psychological test. And what are we looking for in the psychological test? We are looking for communication skills, a bit by writing communication skills. We look about, you know, compassion. We are looking about humanitarian excellence. Okay, it's not a very bad word to say humanitarian, and not just humanitarian, but humanitarian excellence, and many other features, characters. So after that, if they pass this exam, they now have two interviews. The first one, and if they pass the first one, which we are looking at the same, but now in speaking, in connection with others, if they pass the first interview, now they have the second interview. So we start something with 2,500 applicants, and we finished at the Goldman Medical School 160. 160 is new, because when Noa started, it was 120, okay? And Noa is only in the 4th year. It means that in the last 3 years, we have grown something like 33%, okay? It's a lot of number, okay, of students that we start with, or we increased. And how do we handle all these students? It's very difficult. It's extremely difficult because we don't, as I said before, we don't compromise excellence. But our main issue is how to do the two things together. The Beersheba spirit, which means not the disease is in the middle. The disease should not be in the middle, because what is the disease? I mean, you know, everyone here, even if he's not a medical student, can read, you know, in the book, heart attack is something, you know, you don't have blood supply to the heart, etc., etc. No, I don't care. I mean, nobody's care. I mean, we should know that. But I want to say that the patient is in the middle, not the disease. When I say that the patient is in the middle, it means when he comes to our place, and let me tell you a joke I just heard. Where is on it? A joke I just heard. You know, in the Technion, do you know what's the Technion? It's the university in north of Israel. So when someone with a heart attack arrives, so he just, you know, say, oh, let's see how the ECG is working, you know, because they teach their, you know, engineers, etc. When they are going to Jerusalem, you know, Jerusalem, wow, the Hebrew University, which is a very good university, of course, not as ours, but okay. So, no, of course, no, but you know that. So they say, let me ask you, what do you know about heart attack? So, okay, this is Jerusalem. And then when they arrive to Tel Aviv, it's like in the States. First pay me the money and then I can treat you. So in our place, no. We come to the patient, we watch, we try to put the ECG at the same time that we talk with the patient, because let's suggest something else. So that the patient is okay, he's doing well. Now we have to think, how he's going to be treated at home? Which I mean, you know, you are going to give him some medications, etc. You have to be sure that he's got the environment at home to do it. This is something we are learning. This is something that we have to know about our patient in order our medicine really is to be an excellent medicine, okay? So, Beersheba spirit. I think I'll leave a lot of time to questions, but let's say Noah, okay? Noah is the new generation. And Noah doesn't need me anymore. I mean, she doesn't need me. As many years ago, I always say this, example. I just arrived at the 4th year, internal medicine department, so asks me, the director of the department, everyone is going after him, you know what I mean? The director at the beginning, and everyone is going after him, and then he asks, Reli. Oh my God, I don't know. Can you please tell me, no, you understand, 10 reasons of thrombocytopenia and liver disease. Something in blood exam in liver disease. So I said to myself, and I said, my God, I don't know. I mean, I just didn't even speak. So he was very unpleasant, and he says to me, right, etiology, that's nice. And I didn't speak. He just said, and then go, wow, this is the second thing. And by the 5th, I just said, well, I'm going to faint here. Just leave me alone. So today, if I ask Noah this question, she doesn't care. She just say, okay, a minute. She takes her iPhone, and she says, okay, ChatGPT, give me 10 reasons of this and that, and in 1 minute, she says it, the answer. So Noah doesn't need me anymore with that notion. But Noah needs, no, you don't need me, but Noah needs us as doctors to teach her clinical skills. I want that the new generation will be more curious. I want them, to come into class, not for frontal class, but, to ask questions, to be involved in innovation, to be involved in research, to be involved in humanity, okay? So this is the things that I want for the future of our students. It's very important for me because, we are doing so many things, and technology is speeding out, and we need to keep pace with this technology, and I think this is one of our goals. The other goal is, I don't know if you know, but Israel and Beersheba especially has the lowest number of doctors per 1,000 patients, and we need much more doctors. So this is the reason that we have to increase our number of students. Now, in order to do it, we have a lot of work. And here is, Ben, I know you are here, and I don't want but the Goldman, no, really, no, it's not time. I'm not kidding. But the Goldman Committee, which is our advisory board, really stand by us. And we have routine conversations and routine counseling and routine, how to do things. I mean, I think that no one knows here everything by himself, but together, okay, this togetherness with our personnel, with the committee, I think it's so important, and it adds such a value to our school that I'll finish here, and then I'll be more than happy to answer your questions or whatever is. Okay, and now, this is yours now.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So I want to talk about really what the medical school has taught me and has done for me, and my reserve service. I really want to dive deep into that. But first of all, I would really like to take a moment and appreciate the fact that I'm being here, and the fact that you all are taking the time and sitting here and listening to us. And really, it's so exciting for me to be here and to experience that. So thank you so much. So I want to start by really connecting to everything Reli has said. I get to experience that firsthand as a medical student for the past 4 years at BGU. And full disclosure, I would say that I
when I first started thinking about medical school, I applied to all 4 medical faculties in Israel. So that would be exactly, as Reli said, the Technion, Tel Aviv University, Hebrew University, and BGU. And happily, I qualified for all 4. But when I had to face the decision of where I'm going to study, I think it was almost one of the easiest choices I've ever had to make. And it is much more just because I grew up in Beersheba, I was born in Beersheba, so I feel a very strong connection to the city and to the Negev in general. But not only that, it was because all of the things that I've heard prior to how Ben-Gurion is teaching the students and what values they are putting in the center of the studies that really made me know and choose that I made the right decision. Now I'm 4 years after that decision, and I know for sure that I made the right decision. But back then, I think it was one of the easiest choices I had to make, and I am so, so glad that I made that decision. Really, I can tell you that what's special about the education we receive at BGU is that from day one, I think it's the first week of medical school, that's where they take us. We're newbies, like we don't know anything about medicine, obviously, and they take us to the hospital wards to see firsthand what does a patient bed looks like, what does a patient experience. They help us to interview patients. So just imagine this, I'm sitting there, I'm in my first week of medical school, I have no idea what I'm doing, and then I'm just interviewing a patient, but obviously I do not inquire about the medical side of things because I don't even know how to read a blood test yet. But I do ask about where the patient is from, what's his social and economical state, does he or she have a family to take care of them, do they have kids, what do they do for work? And that, I feel like, really embodies the spirit of the Goldman Medical School, because I feel like that is exactly the mindset that they're teaching us and that they want us to become better doctors, because when we see a patient, we see more than just a hospital gown. We actually are taught to see the person in the hospital gown and ask many questions that are much more, some would say, maybe like that's supposed to be a social worker job, but I feel like for us, they are really training us to be a much more whole person. I can give you another example that one of our courses in medical school, it's in our second year, is a course about literature. It has nothing to do with medical actual science and stuff. We are just studying literature, and we're studying poems and stories, just so that we could get a sense of being a more whole person, of more complex individuals, and that what would make us better future doctors and better future people. So that's really the experience that we get at BGU the Goldman Medical School. Also, as I said, I grew up in Beersheba, so Soroka, the hospital that I'm working and going to every day, is the same hospital I was born in. So that is a really amazing closure for me. And I feel such a huge connection to the Negev and to Beersheba. And when I try to think about my future, I don't know yet. I'm very young, and I'm just starting now my life, my career, my future family. But when I think about what kind of doctor I would like to stay in the Negev and treat my family, my parents as they get older, hopefully they won't need any medical assistant, but my parents, my grandparents, my brothers, my sister, I'm thinking about Beersheba as my home, and I'm seeing this as more of just a career. This, for me, is my mission, and my mission is to become a better doctor, to take care of, I'm looking at it just like my family, but it's not my family, it's my community. It's the entire city, it's the entire Negev, and there are very crucial differences that we can experience at the medical healthcare in the Negev and in the center of Israel. So that's how I see my future. I definitely feel like I would like it to be entangled in Soroka and in the Ben-Gurion University for days to come. I also, you probably all heard that there was a missile from the Iranian attack that hit Soroka Hospital. So I was actually there that day, the day that the missile hit the hospital. I was on a shift in my reserve service where I had to, when I take care of the families and I meet the soldier. That was such a jarring experience that day because for me, Soroka Hospital is so much more than just a hospital. You see, that's the place, as I told you, I was born in. That's the place I do my reserve service at. That's the place I work at. That's the place I study. So it was just a terrible experience seeing the place that I'm so connected to getting hit so tremendously. But something hopeful is that when I came, obviously that day it was a lot of chaos and everything was in great mess, but you could see everyone just really joining in the mission. And I think it was not even an hour later, the hospital was so crowded with people, volunteers, bringing food, bringing medical aid. We went to the place where the missile hit and we took out things for the people that were there in the hospital wards. We just took out everything, and it was really just such a terrible experience on the one hand, but such a unifying experience as well. And I feel like that also really represents what Soroka Medical School and the BGU Medical School is, because it's about that. It's about unity. It's about community. It's about being there for each other and making sure that the Negev, the people of the Negev, young people, old people, that we would have a better future. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening.
Now we're going to get into the fun part. I'm going to ask them all the questions that I've been thinking of while they've been talking and all the things I want to know about them. So if you would both please come join me up here. You guys have left me wanting more, and I'm just so amazed with all that you guys have shared so far. Here, I'll pass this to you guys. Do you want to share? Okay, so Reli, my first question is for you. You've shared so much about the program, about what makes BGU different, but what drives you as a doctor? When you wake up in the morning, what is it that pushes you to get out of bed and go to work every day and think of that patient-centric mentality?
Well, I think it starts many years ago. I mean, it doesn't start just yesterday. As a child, I wasn't born in Israel. I was born in Romania, but I was, in Israel when I was just 9 months old. And since then, I'm in Beersheba. Well, with residentship here and there and, fellowship and everything. But anyway, living in Beersheba, okay, in such diverse population, you can see immigrants from all around the world. My passion was to try and help them. And because I could see how they have so many problems as new immigrants to Israel. And Beersheba is a city of immigrants, was a city of immigrants. And you could see that they don't have, the knowledge how to treat themselves. So this is from one side. On the other side, I'm very interested in medicine, as a child. So my DNA is actually combining these community or communication skills of mine, or at least to trying to do it, and with my passion for treating people. And these two together, I have to admit that I wake up every morning, really. I know it's going to sound as a cliche, but it is. I wake up every morning and I say to myself, I am so lucky to work with all these people, to treat these people, to come to work. You know, I'm doing, you know, a very happy work. I'm an obstetrician, so I'm doing almost only, I mean, good, very, very happy things, nothing, I mean, connected to death or to something like this. But this is my main passion. My main passion is now try to take what I have, what I feel, and to educate, to take what I, you know, what I've got from my professors, from my city, which inspires me really every day, to see the people in Beersheba struggling sometimes, and you know, to try and you know, to transfer what I think and value to Noa and her friends. So this is the main thing that I, you know, this is the reason that I wake up every morning to start, you know, treating people and then coming to faculty and to educate the students in order they come to do whatever I do.
That's amazing. So Noah, you know, when we grow up as children, we have a lot of ideas of what we want to be when we grow up. The first job I ever wanted was to work in the gum department at ShopRite Supermarket so that kids could pick out the right gum. That didn't last very long. Obviously, I don't chew gum as often as I did, but that was my first goal. Did you always know you wanted to be a doctor? Was that just something that started in you very young?
It did start when I was fairly young. I think it was about 13 or 14. I had to say that it was probably around the time I started watching Grey's Anatomy. Such a cliche, but no, it's not the only reason.
Do you still watch it?
No, actually, I lost count. Like probably
Oh.
season 12.
I
I think
can
now
catch
it's
you up.
okay. Great. Yeah. So that I think that was when the idea first like planted in my head. But all throughout my high school years, and then a little bit after I finished the army, I worked a lot in education. I was in charge in some youth groups and was an instructor, a guide for a few education group, non-formal education. And that really is something that also stuck with me that I always consider doing. And I found myself always circling back to medicine because I really knew I wanted to do something therapeutic. I wanted to help people. And also, I do really like exploring, and I am a very curious girl. You could ask my fiance over here that if something is not sitting right with me, or if I just learned a new thing, that I would go on like a rabbit hole and just search everything that I could and learn. So I think, yeah, it did start when I was fairly young, and then I tried to do some other things because my family is very supportive. But one thing my mom always told me, my mom comes from the world of law. She's a lawyer, and she always told me, like, you would be such a good lawyer, you speak so beautifully, and I think like you have what it takes. And she always told me, like, why do you need medicine? It's so hard. I mean, she's very proud of me, but it's like 12 years, like it takes so long. And I tried to consider other things, but at the end I really I felt like this was the thing for me. And yeah, I'm very happy that I made that decision.
We're happy too. So one of the things that's been really remarkable over the last few days is hearing about all the things you are doing right, Reli, in your program, how you're teaching doctors to do the right thing. And Noah, you talked about that, how when you were first meeting a patient, you weren't looking at test results, you weren't looking at CMP numbers, you wanted to know who that person is. So obviously, when you guys came to the decision that this is really important to you as how you want to be the core and the heart of the medical school and what you wanted the doctors to walk away with, when you look at the medical field outside of BGU, what are doctors doing wrong?
Okay, so let's start with this way. Our doctors, graduates, don't do anything wrong. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think it's not doing, I mean, the word doing wrong is a little bit harsh. I mean, I would say, what I would like to believe is that our doctors, our graduates, okay? Our graduates are really doing the best they can when they arrive to a patient. This is what I would like to believe, according to what they've studied, according to what they have got in our school. But sometimes the conclusions are not always as it should be. Because, you know, working in medicine is not white and black. It can be gray. And I can say, you know, from my perspective, I'm doing ultrasound, okay? I'm doing fetal maternal ultrasound. And sometimes I can see a fetus inside, you know, in the womb. And I say, wow, it has a very short hand and a very long, I don't know, leg, and, you know, eyelashes like this. And I'm not sure I can know exactly what does it mean. I mean, is it going to be a severe disease in this child, or isn't it? So we really try to do our best. The thing is that I would suggest a new doctor is to consider things very quietly. And even you are in a very urgent state, okay? And as obstetrician, when you see delivering a mother with a lot of blood and everything really is very stressed, okay, hold your breath. I mean, nothing happens. Think half a minute. Nothing will happen this half a minute. Think, breathe, and then try, you know, to do whatever it needs to be done. One hand, you have to be very, very, I mean, you can't work without emotions. You have to work with a lot of emotions. Otherwise, you are not a good doctor, because you can't feel, you know, what your patients feel. And medicine is about emotions, but you have to be detached, concerned. I mean, you have to think, to understand what they feel, to put yourself in their position, but then to go step back so you can be detached, and then you can think to do the best things you can. And I have to admit that although, you know, you might think that doctors are doing wrong and everything, well, sometimes the expectations, you know, and especially I can speak about expectations, because in obstetrics, every woman thinks that we need 100% of success. I mean, you know, it's just a delivery. It's just a pregnancy. I mean, how come things are going wrong? Okay? I think that if I know and if I think that the doctor has done everything in the right way he should do, and yet the result wasn't as expected, well, it's something else. If it's not this, so I'm very, very unhappy. But thanks God, really, it doesn't happen so much, really. I mean, so I'm very happy with it.
Thank God. So Noa, in your free time when you're a reservist, which has taken up hundreds of days for you over the last several years, you've had to meet families at some of the worst times. And the other night you shared some stories with us. How has your training at BGU impacted that experience for you? And did you see a difference with your comrades and your colleagues that had different training experience?
I feel like the training at BGU definitely helped me a lot during doing this role. I also did this role in my mandatory service when I was 18, but it was definitely not in this kind of magnitude and like the war right now. So I feel like the ability to really see a person and their surroundings beyond just the medical issue right now is one of the things that has really impacted me throughout my reserve service. And I'm sure those things really intertwine. I mean, that would affect my medical career, and my my reserve service would, yeah, like both of them the other way around. And I feel like the fact that when I walk into a patient's room, I was taught that I need to look at my surrounding and scan and try to look for clues. For example, I try to see if the patient is alone, if the patient has a wedding ring, meaning he has a family, trying to see if there are children's stories, trying to see if he is connected to I don't know, like he's not mobile because he cannot move. If there's shoes on the floor, meaning he can move. So I think this training really helped me navigate around situations that I encountered later when I was in reserve, and I needed to be at the top of the most, it was such delicate situations. Families and people are getting life-changing, devastating news, and really just learning to read the room properly, and just knowing how to react sometimes, or even sometimes when not to react. I think those are skills that are super, super important that have helped me. I definitely picked it up during the school.
Amazing. So the last question I want to ask both of you is about the future. We've been hearing a lot over the last couple days that it's been very hard for any of us to think past today. We've kind of been frozen and unable to breathe. And now we have a different approach to looking at the world with a little more hopeful eyes. So Reli first, looking at the medical school, what's the future hold for us?
Okay, so first of all, I think that we have to take, the last 2 years and learn from them quite a lot, and to take this school not just to be back 2 years ago, but to be much better than we were 2 years ago. Because when I started as the dean and the war started, then I said to myself, well, I have two things to do. The first one is to help the soldiers, the staff, for our school. So this is one thing to do. The other thing is to go ahead with my vision before the war. I mean, I can't stay back, and I have to do things. I mean, in a year or 2 or 3 or whatever, the war is going to be terminated, and then I didn't do anything. So this is the two things, though. Now, the future of the Goldman Medical School, I think, is going to be much better because, as I said before, we've gone quite a lot of new educational methods. We are going to increase in our number of students. Hopefully, Noa is a unique, in our, no, you are unique because, one of our problems is how do we convince students like Noa remain in the South? This is one of our main problems. So the Ministry of Health gave us what we call Ilanot program. Ilanot program is something that the Ministry of Health pays for each and each student quite a lot of money for all the 6 years, and then he's supposed to remain in Beersheba for the next residency of him. So the Ilanot program is something very important for us. So I hope that now much more doctors that graduated, in Beersheba will even remain in Beersheba, so we can spread our knowledge and, our attitudes towards medicine in Beersheba with that program. Noa is part of this Ilanot program. So this is the first thing. So we would like that our students will remain here much more. The second thing is, as I said before, it's very important for me that our students be part of the new technologies, be part of AI, be part of innovation, and not be stuck only to one program. We have a lot of other programs in our medical school, not only as, this class in literature that I really like, but also classes like which every country has, MD PhD, MD MJ, MD MPH, in epidemiology, but we have also MHA, MD MHA, which means health administration, MD and master in health administration. It means that I would like my students to lead. And in health administration, you are learning a lot of how to lead, and our students are really leaders. And I'm sure that with that new plan, they are going to be much more leaders than they are already now. So this, we have a lot of other things that we would like to do more and more and more. And I know, I don't hope. How did you say to, or someone said, hope is not, it's not a strategy, exactly. So I know that we are going to be even much better than we are already today.
Amazing. And Noa, what does your future look like?
So I would be probably like in my residency, I would need to choose a specialty, which is a very hard thing. Oh, okay, great. I would love that. So I would, for me, the future, it's hard for me to see so far ahead, but in the near future, I would say that I aspire truly to be the best that I can and be as influential as I can in terms of in my community and even with my close friends. I feel like the community that we're building to ourselves, I would love to help. For me, being in Ilanot, as Reli said, it's very obvious because I grew up in the Negev and I really feel like I'm connected to that place. But I would love for more students, for my fellow students, for my friends to stay and help take care of the future of the Negev. Because as I said before, it is crucial, and there is a difference that we can see when we look at the healthcare system in the center. So I guess that, and just, trying to be the best as I can, build my own life, my career. Yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Well, thank you both for being with us today, and thank you all of us for joining us. One of the members of our team is going to come up with just a housekeeping notes and a close, but I just want to let all of you know, in case you weren't at our benefit on Sunday night, if you are walking out of this room feeling so inspired by Reli and Noah, and you believe that these are the faces of the future of medicine, the Goldman family announced on Sunday night that they will be doing a match between now and December 31st, up to $2 million. There are some pledge cards in the front of the room. There's some out on the table. So if you want to be part of the future of medicine, we hope you'll join us.